a special event. It is the Heisman Trophy of defense. It is the award that gives back to a side of the ball that doesn't get as much glory. Thank you, Charlotte.
What a high level of excellence Bronco Nagurski brought to the game. He is an inspiration to anyone who loves the game of football.
My football story is not about playing for the Carolina Panthers. My football story is from the time I was 5 years old, all I ever wanted to do was play for Wayne Hills High School in northern New Jersey.
I was a part of something, and the purpose of what we were working for was greater than any one of us.
Come out every day to compete, and the only way we can get better is we, compete against each other hard.
It's important to note that sometimes the signs that we ask for are right there in front of us. Win or lose, there was always a message in there. It's about what we do with the adversity we face.
You can have a dream, but you better be prepared for that opportunity.
I want to thank you all once again for the millions of dollars that you have contributed. And I know while the focus of the Charlotte Touchdown Club might be football, the money that you provide enables multiple sports to benefit.
It's a lot of hard work. I mean, it's nothing is given. I mean, you have to earn everything.
Honored to be here today. You do such wonderful work. The funds you raise for scholarships around the area, that's wonderful.
A very heartfelt thank you to members of the Touchdown Club for your support of 16,000 plus students who you all are impacting annually. Studies show that GPAs and graduation rates are higher, absences and dropout rates are lower.
What I've learned in my life is you can accomplish anything in this world. If you want to do something bad enough, you'll find a way.
But it's important that everybody in this room and beyond understands that it starts with us. You see these kids on the come up, you gotta let them know.
Football was a gladiator sport. Only gladiators played football.
Tonight, you are going to get a glimpse of excellence of our finalists and what they have brought to this game. Their dedication, passion, and brute strength, along with their ability to make key plays during crucial moments in big games.
I believe that football is the greatest game that there is. It's the only game where people of all sizes, of all shapes, of all different talent levels can come together. And everyone have to execute their job. And I believe young people should play. I believe it builds character. It teaches us how to sacrifice and be humble.
Life is all about when you get punched in the gut, finding a way to get up and dust yourself off and get back in the ring and just keep swinging, son. Just keep swinging.
Be here, be back in North Carolina, see all you Wolfpackers and all you others again. What you do with this organization, with John and so many that contribute, really is awesome. Because as we all know, sports, it may be more important now than it's ever been with these high schools and what it's doing to help facilitate and bring joy and some discipline and virtue. It's awesome.
And I think football is a lens and a window to our world, to our society when it comes to team. When you talk about together, everybody achieves more. There's nothing on that football field that's of accomplishment without the work of 10 other men.
By the Football Writers Association of America and the Charlotte Touchdown Club, we're proud to present the 2020 Bronco Nagurski Trophy to Zaven Collins from the University of Tulsa.
Thank you to the Football Writers Association for presenting me this trophy and selecting me to be the Nagurski winner. Thank you to Charlotte Touchdown Club and Lending Tree for entrusting with me and putting my name on the trophy. It really means a lot to me.
Growing up around the game, I have a deep and abiding respect for those who have paved the way. Bronco Nagurski was a true pioneer of our game.
Well. Good afternoon, everyone. We're going to get ready to get started. Back to typical Charlotte weather. Would you agree to that? Let's hear typical Charlotte weather. Would you agree to that? You guys love living in Charlotte? I do. I've been here for 20 years. Well, good afternoon. My name is Stephen Israel. And my entire adult life, I've been covering people. For the first 10 years out of college, I was covering receivers in the NFL. Then for the next 15, holding a mic for ESPN and Fox Sports. Today, I cover executives, entrepreneurs, families, and businesses with my specialty team at JP Morgan Private Bank. But more important than that, we got an awesome show for you today. Let's get started here. I would like to welcome the Touchdown Club sponsors, members, and guests to today's event, Hickory Tavern, Char Bar 7, and the media partners News Talk 1110 and WBT, and also WFNZ. Now I would like to have come up our Hickory Tavern CEO, Touchdown Club board member. Please help me welcome Brad Smith.
Hello. Thank you, Steve. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the 2022 Touchdown Club Luncheon Speaker Series Kickoff. It's a lot. Today featuring Cincinnati Bengal great and Hall of Famer Mr. Anthony Munoz. Thank you, Andy, for being here. I'm not sure this is 100% true, but it's possible it could be a special day for Mr. Munoz. Possibly. Today is his 44th wedding anniversary. Wow. And we get to spend that with him. All right, let's do the fun stuff first. It's Friday. We don't normally do these on Friday. And if any of you guys are like me about mid-afternoon on Friday, your mind starts to wander a little bit. Mine goes immediately to happy hour. Then, of course, a good hamburger, dinner with my family, great sports, etc. As the co-founder of Hickory Tavern, we tried to wrap all of that up in our business model. And I would like to extend an invitation to everyone here. If you've not been there, I would love for you to come. If you have been there, I would love for you to come back. And as a little bit of encouragement, everyone here has a gift card. So this afternoon, if your mind starts to wander, come on over to the Hickory Tavern. We'd love to have you. We have stores all over Charlotte and certainly one near most of us. So I'd appreciate that. Also, as the co-founder of Hickory Tavern and Char Bar 7, I would like everyone here to know how proud we are to be part of the Touchdown Club. It's very fulfilling to do good things in the community. That's a cornerstone of both of our brands. Obviously, with the sports connection with Hickory Tavern, it's a perfect match. And any of you out there that may be considering joining our club, we wish you would. It's really a worthwhile cause, great fellowship, learn a little bit, and have some fun. All right. Now, I'm also on the board of directors here at the club. And so I would like to extend our gratitude. We have over 60 sponsors represented here today and their guests. And I think all of our sponsors will agree that this year's lineup is completely over the top. In addition to Mr. Munoz today, our future speakers are Atlanta Braves great and Hall of Famer Chipper Jones, Los Angeles Rams great and Hall of Famer Marshall Faulk, Heisman Trophy winner and two-time national champion Tim Tebow, and then we wrap the luncheon series with ESPN sportscaster Chris Boomer Berman. So a really good luncheon lineup this year. And, you know, and as if that wasn't enough, mark your calendar for December the 5th for the Bronco Nagurski Awards Banquet. This year, our keynote speaker is Dave Dorn from the North Carolina State Wolfpack. And those of you who have been to the Bronco Nagurski Awards Banquet know, but those of you who have not, it is easily one of the top events in all of Charlotte, if not the top event of Charlotte. So please mark your calendar for December 5th, Bronco Nagurski Awards Banquet. And then, last but not least, I wanted to pass on to everyone here that since this club's inception in 1990, we have raised and donated nearly $3 million to Charlotte High School athletics, some collegiate athletics, and youth sports programs in the greater Charlotte region. All right, almost $3 million. That's through the generosity of everybody here and everybody before us. So a warm round of applause. All right, so the $3 million would have never been raised without one person, and his name is John Rocco. And John's walking back there acting like he didn't hear me. John is our executive director. And in addition to Mr. Munoz having a special day today, our executive director, John Rocco, has a milestone birthday. And so I want everyone to give him a round of applause, and I'm going to lead everyone in singing happy birthday. All right, let's do it. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear John. Happy birthday to you. Way to go, Johnny. John will be 40. All right, on behalf of Hickory Tavern, Char Bar number 7, and the Touchdown Club, we're glad to have everybody with us, and we hope you enjoy today's events. Thank you very much.
Before you leave, make sure you thank Brad for the gift cards. And the gift cards from Brad is reusable. You don't have to turn it in when you go to Hickory. They're reusable. Just keep it, and every time you go in. He's smiling. All right, we're going to bless the food before you guys are done. Please help me welcome Father John Hannock from St. John's Church.
Well, first I would say thank you for having me in another year. I can't hardly believe it. But it's wonderful to be here, and I'm happy that you're able to be here today as well. So let us pray. Gracious God, giver of life and lover of us all, bless each football family that's gathered here today. Bless those who support them. Bless our plans, our hopes, and our dreams. Bless each coach, player, their families, and every team. Give us the courage to tackle our day-to-day challenges with finesse, energy, and compassion. Strengthen and guard us to hold the line against all that may divide us. Grace us to treat each moment of life with the same intensity we have in our 2-minute drills. Keep us focused on you, our families, our teammates, and the eternal goal you have set before us. Coach us each day to use the gifts you have entrusted to us so that we may glorify you. Help us to live your great commission to love one another as you love us. Bless the food that is before us, those whose work harvested it, and those who prepare and serve it. May this food strengthen us to serve you and one another. We pray this in great confidence. In your name, amen.
I just want to thank everyone for coming out for today's luncheon again. Enjoy your lunch, and we'll be right back in a few minutes to get the program started. Thank you. Just want to thank everyone for coming out today. Also, I would like for you to recognize and patronize the more than 60 Touchdown Club sponsor team members highlighted that you've been seeing throughout the luncheon here on the video screens to my right and to my left. And we're going to jump into our raffle in a minute. Also, the Touchdown Club would like to thank Crown Sports Sales and also Rydell for their support for today's side of auction. Now, I have a teammate that's going to help me with the raffle. Many of you know Joe Panko, but what you don't realize is he's been living here and doing this for over 20 years. So we're going to show Big JP some love today. When I say J, you say P. J! J! When I say J, you say P. J! JP! All right, Mr. Panko, come on up. We're going to get the raffle started. Thanks, guys. I appreciate that. All right, the first item is going to be a Bengals helmet autographed by none other than Anthony Munoz. Winning number is 706. Last three numbers is 706. Full number is 730-706. We got a winner? Yeah, we got a winner. Come on up. Next item, Bengals football autographed by Anthony Munoz. $730-756. 730-756. Got another winner. Next item, Bengals mini helmet, autographed by none other than Mr. Munoz. $145,478. First three numbers this time is 145,478. Got a winner? Oh yeah, come on up. Last item is a 2021 Bronco Nagurski autographed commemorative football. So we got an autographed Bronco Nagurski football. Back to the 730s. First three is 730, 788. 788, last three, 730, 788. Anybody? Yep, we got a winner, come on up. Thanks a lot. Thank you, Joe Panko, for always getting us great items, really appreciate it. Don't forget to place your bids in today's silent auction also. The last bid will be taken 10 minutes following the conclusion of today's luncheon. And of course, all proceeds benefit the Charlotte Touchdown Club Scholarship Club. Now, the Cincinnati Bengals mini helmet that you see on the centerpiece, that's going to be the giveaway item today. The winner of the mini helmet will be how you find out if you want it. You look at the sticker. It's going to be a sticker that's going to say, "You are the winner," next to Coach Dave Doran's image on the inside cover of the program. So, it's been a while since we had the centerpiece, a helmet. So the winner of the mini helmet centerpiece, autographed by today's guest, Anthony Munoz, It'll say, "You are the winner." All right, sounds like everybody found it. That's good stuff. Now we have some special guests in attendance today. We want to thank all the special guests today. We're going to start with the high school and middle school coaches, along with the athletic directors and administrators we have here today. Let's face it, a lot of these great speakers that you get every month was helped considerably by a coach, an administrator, a teacher. So just really want to thank the middle school coaches, high school coaches, and administrators that's here today. Let's hear it for them. Next, we have some NFL legends in the building. You're going to hear from Joe DeLamielleure a little later. Also, we have Livingstone's head coach, former defensive lineman, Sean Gilbert. And we're going to save the big guy at the table up front for last. But now I would like you to stand. Please stand. Last but not least, we want to give a very warm welcome to all the current and former U.S. military heroes in attendance today. Let's hear it for them. You can be seated. We can't thank them enough. I really appreciate it. Now I'd like to welcome Buffalo Bills Hall of Famer Joe DeLamielleure to the podium.
Well, I'll make this brief because I know you guys are still hungry. But Anthony, what a man. You come on your anniversary. That's amazing. I hope you make 50 years like I did. But anyhow, I'm introducing Anthony because John Rockway asked me to. And I drove all the way up from Somerville, South Carolina, down the freeways here. They're crazy, the drivers. I left at 6 in the morning and I got here and but I beat Anthony because he was in the airport for what, 4 hours? But I just got to say this about Anthony. Of all the players I played with and against, if you look at his position, he's the best who's ever played. That's an amazing statement because I'm a big football fan and I watched offensive line play my whole life. And he was the best. When he came in the league, I was like, good God, watch that guy, 78. And the guys who played against him, most people aren't nervous playing before a game. They're a little bit nervous. But the guys I played with who played against Anthony, they're nervous all week. And I mean that. But he's one of the great players, and he's a better person. I know people say that all the time. He's got a foundation that he's been doing for years. I know his family, they're fantastic. Dee, his wife, Dee Dee, and they're just great people. And I'm glad that you could make it, Anthony. You've done a lot for a lot of people, and I hope you tell them about your foundation a little bit, because it's amazing what you've done. But thanks for coming. Thanks to people of Charlotte. I now live in Somerville, South Carolina. I found God's country. It's not that far. You guys should go down there once in a while. But it's great, and I want to thank you very much for having me. Bye.
Let's take a look at the highlight video now. Thank you.
Choice that the Cincinnati Bengals had ever made was Anthony Munoz. The best choice to this point in their history, ever.
My rookie year is 1992. I had the luxury of playing with Jackie Slater. He's a mentor to me and still mentors me to this day. Played over 20 years in the NFL. He's a Hall of Famer. And the one thing I constantly joked with him about was, Big Pops, thanks for all the guidance and mentoring me, but the #1 offensive lineman of all time is Anthony Munoz. But the good thing about it is he would just smile and he would never say no. He would agree with me. Please help me welcome Cincinnati Bengals legend, Hall of Famer, Anthony Munoz.
Hello, everyone. How you doing today? Just to add to Stephen's comment about Jackie Slater, you know, anytime you're playing in the NFL and you're watching tape on other guys that play the same position, and all of a sudden, after watching a guy like Jackie Slater, you name a technique. We had a Slater technique in part of our repertoire and what we used to block the defensive end. So Jackie is the best. Not only a great player was Jackie, but a great individual, as Stephen knows. For those of us that know Jackie and his family, just phenomenal. And that's the fun thing about doing events like this. And I appreciate John Rocco, the communications. Thank you, the Charlotte Touchdown Club. And of course, my buddy Joe D, who is up here. Joe's been talking to me about how great this banquet is, and I can see why. Just meeting a lot of the people here the short time I've been here. And I appreciate the opportunity to be here and just share a few words with you. You know, it's been a long time since I've strapped it up. We get older and, you know, you watch those videos and it's like, man, that's exciting to have played part of a fraternity like guys with Steve and, you know, the guys that were mentioned, Sean Gilbert and Joe D. It's a special fraternity. It's one that, you know, one of the questions I got asked, and one of the guys that I always say was the best that I played against, there's a lot, playing left tackle for 13 years, but the guy that I always say was probably the best all-around defensive end I played against, wore the same number 78, played 19 years for the combination Buffalo Bills and the Washington Commanders now, but I'm going to say it was the Washington Redskins when he played, but was Bruce Smith. You know, people say, the first time you saw Bruce Smith after you retired, did you guys like ignore each other? I said, no. I said, the first time I saw Bruce Smith, a lot of times, like we see guys that played in the league, it's a handshake and a hug because of the mutual respect we have for each other. And when I walked in, I saw some familiar faces of guys that are much younger than me, guys that, I won't mention Joe, a couple years older than me, but it's always nice to go to another city. I've been to Charlotte a few times. I haven't been here in a while. But to see guys that competed in the NFL, it's always nice. You know, we had a president at the Hall of Fame who just retired after 6 years. Did a lot of great things for the Hall of Fame. One of the sayings he always said, Pro Football Hall of Famers did not just roll out of bed and become Hall of Famers. Just like I've met some excellent business people, you just didn't roll out of bed and become excellent in your field. It takes hard work. It takes a journey. And for me, so many times, the body of work, the 13 years that I had the opportunity, the privilege and honor of being a part of the NFL, that is talked about so much, is that body of work, the 13 years, the Hall of Fame career. But going back to Dave Baker's phrase, Hall of Famers just don't roll out of bed and become Hall of Famers. I think we need to share a little more of the journey, what we go through, what you go through as business owners, the adversity, the wins, the failures, the learning. And just like football, when you get hit and get knocked down, you get back up. And if there's anyone that played in the NFL that says, hey, I never got knocked down, I'm going to put a lie detector on that guy. Because we all get knocked down, but we all get back up. It's how you get back up. And I guess I learned a lot of that getting up from adversity growing up in Southern California. Growing up in Ontario, California, about 40 miles east of LA. My mom raised 5 kids by herself. I had 2 older brothers and I had 2 younger sisters. I'm the middle of 5. Last year I lost one of my older brothers, and the year before that I lost one of my sisters, so now there's 3 of us. We lost Mom 6 years ago. But the fact that Mom worked 2 and 3 jobs to provide for 5 kids was amazing. We never had a car. We had to walk everywhere. I'm thankful that she was one of 10, and we had aunt and uncles that would provide transportation at times. Never met my dad. I never will meet my dad. He's passed away. But I know a couple things about my dad. He was in and out of prison when I was growing up as a kid. He was locked up. Couple times he got out, made an attempt to meet his kids, but really we didn't know who he was. So after he got released from jail, drug addict, dealer, he passed away. So I'd never had a chance to meet him. So Mom was Mom, Dad, coach, and the number one thing we knew, she was the boss. I had a chance to speak at I did the eulogy for her at her funeral, and I had my head baseball coach that I played 3 years for in high school. I met him when I was 7 years old. He's been a mentor of mine. We have a 57-year relationship, and he was sitting in the front row, and I said, Jim, with all due respect, I've had a lot of great baseball coaches, but I don't know if any of the coaches could hit me ground balls and flies better than my mom could. She was an amazing lady. She taught us work ethic. It wasn't like she sat us down at the table and said, okay, kids, this is what work ethic is all about. All we had to do was watch her walk 6:30 in the morning, cross the railroad tracks, and walk to the chicken ranch where she packed eggs. All we had to see was the pillowcases of clothes that we brought home from our teachers and how meticulous she was in ironing those clothes for our teachers. We learned work ethic from her there. And we learned responsibility. That she did teach us, because during the school year, baseball was my first love growing up as a kid, and that's all I wanted to do after school. But in order to play baseball, I had to make sure I had my homework done. In the summertime, if I wanted to go play baseball, and in Southern California you're playing all year long, we had to get our chores done at home. And I'm not just talking some little bitty chores. We learned how to wash dishes, wash clothes, hang the clothes out on the clothesline. We learned how to cook because it was survival mode. We learned responsibility. So those valuable lessons have carried me even now in my adult years. The background, the upbringing, I wouldn't trade for anything. Didn't realize how poor we were until I got to high school. A lot of my buddies and my classmates were wearing multiple outfits throughout the week, and ours were wash and wear. Get home from school, wash, dry them, and wear them the next day. But Mom's philosophy was, even though you don't have a whole lot, you don't have to look like you don't have a whole lot, because she would wash and iron like no other. And she taught us all those. So growing up, I went to high school. Athletics were a big part of my life. And of course, Mom made sure that academics were very important. High school, I was a football, basketball, and baseball player, all 4 years. I can't remember ever missing a game in 4 years because of injury. So my senior year, after playing football, basketball, and baseball in high school, I had the opportunity to go to school and go to college, but not to play baseball like I wanted to, but it was to play football. I had grown a little bit by my senior year in high school. Now I was about 6'5", 6'6", about 300 pounds. And had a chance to go to just about any university. But growing up in Southern California, I can tell you, I don't know if it was the national championships, the Rose Bowl wins, the Heisman Trophy winners, the All-Americans, or the #1 draft picks that were being pumped out of the University of Southern California. And I do have to say, I know what part of the country I'm in, the real USC. Just kidding. Just kidding. Just kidding. But I wanted to be part of that, what was happening down the road at USC. Man, I was going to go there and block for Heisman Trophy winners and play in Rose Bowls. But no, it didn't work out that way. But I learned quickly about perseverance and about leadership. I have to share just a little bit real quick about my first roommate at USC. So I get there, and I'm a quiet guy, but I'm pretty confident because, I was recruited all over the country. I was a parade All-American, but I get to USC, and there's like 30 parade All-Americans. So I get there, my offensive line coach says, Anthony, have you met your roommate, Harley? I said, no. He goes, he's right behind you. I turn around. Harley's about 6'8", about 315, and it looked like he had swallowed a console color television set. And the guy's a freshman. I'm thinking, South Central LA, I'm going to feel pretty safe with this guy, not only on the football field, but hanging out with him. So we're there early, starting camp, and of course, after a few days of camp, we have to go to the old gym and register for classes as freshmen. Well, you got to take your English and all the core classes. Well, we had these upperclassmen that said, hey, guys, college isn't easy. Put in the time and you're going to do okay, but there's a class that you can take that'll help your GPA. And we're like, okay, talk to us. They say you have to take this Religion 101 class with this professor. For 20 years, he's had the same question as the final exam. All you have to do is read a little bit in the scriptures and you'll get an A. That's an A for your GPA. Religion 101, huh? He said, yep. He said, every year he asked you to explain the missionary journey of the Apostle Paul. We said, all right, we're going to go register for that class. So first day in Religion 101, the front rows is just packed with freshman football players. We're sitting there, we're ready to go, and of course the semester goes on and a few guys scatter here and there because we know what the final exam is. So we show up for the final exam and we are all smiling. We have our blue books. Young people, you know what blue books are? Okay. We had our sharpened pencils. We're ready to get in there and write and explain the missionary journey of the Apostle Paul. We're going to get, and Harley, he gets in there, and he's going to get himself an A too, all 6'8", 6'9", 315 pounds. So we go in for class, and we all sit down, and we're like, okay, we're like those racehorses at the Kentucky Derby. Give us a question. We're ready to go. Open the gate. And the professor gets up to the chalkboard, and he says, he writes on the board, and we're ready. We didn't want to start writing too soon. So he goes, okay, here's the final exam question. Your entire grade is based on the answer here. And we're like, okay, good. I like this. Journey of the Apostle Paul, because I'd read some about that. And we all start filing out of the room. Every one of us but one guy, Harley. Harley sat there in the front row, and he opened up his blue book, and he started to write. And he started to write, turning pages. Man, he is filling up every page. He finishes it, goes up to the professor, and hands it to him. All the professors, we're out in the hall, the door's open, and we're looking at what is going on here. The professor takes Harley's blue book and just gives it one of these, and he sees that it's completely full, and he rips it up, puts it in the trash can, and little conversation's going on, and all of a sudden, Harley turns, and he's walking out, and his chest is almost to the back of the room before he even takes a step. So he comes out in the hallway, and we close the door, and we're all around and say, Harley, what just happened there? He goes, well, boys, I just got myself an A. And we're like, are you kidding us? I watch you read about the missionary journey of the Apostle Paul in the room. He said, yeah. I said, so what did you write that he didn't even read it? He was impressed. Just because of how much I wrote, he was impressed. And we said, so what did you write, Harley? He said, well, guys, I started like this. Who am I to criticize the Sermon on the Mount? Let me explain to you the missionary journey of the Apostle Paul. Learned a lot from that guy, true leader on the team. So I get there to USC with all these plans. Didn't have a whole lot growing up. Got to USC, and my plans didn't necessarily work the way that I planned it. You see, we were going to Rose Bowls when I was there. We had Heisman Trophy winners. We had guys going to the #1 pick. But they also had an offensive lineman that spent 3 of his 4 years in the surgery room having 3 knee operations in 4 years. So how was I going to handle, remember I mentioned earlier, getting knocked down? How was I going to handle getting knocked down, and how was I going to get back up? Freshman year, first knee operation. Second year, healthy. Third year, second knee operation on the right. My senior year, so my junior year, we won the national championship. I did start 7 games and block for a Heisman Trophy winner, Charles White. Missed my Rose Bowl my freshman and junior year. Going to my senior year, my last hurrah. This time it wasn't 7 games into the season. It was the second time we had the football. We're playing in Lubbock, Texas. I'm laying on the turf. I knew exactly what I had to go through because now this was my left leg. I flew to LA, 3rd knee operation in 4 years. How was I going to handle things? Well, I guess that work ethic, that responsibility kicked in. It was mentioned I was married. I actually got married my sophomore year at USC, so I had my wife there to support medical staff. And the adversity that I'd never experienced before kicked in. How was I going to handle it? How was I going to be able to stand up here now and say I'm a Pro Football Hall of Famer? Well, I hadn't played but maybe half the games at USC. Well, with the support group I had there, medical, training, coaches, my wife, family, I rehabilitated. A lot of people thought I was nuts. Missed the entire season. I kept telling my guys, I know we're going to a 3rd Rose Bowl. I want to play with you in that Rose Bowl. And they put their arm around me and say, okay, yeah, we'll do that. Well, I rehabbed. I got the okay from the doctor, okay from the coach, and I earned the starting job back. Played in the Rose Bowl my senior year after my 3rd knee operation. I share that with you because business owners just didn't roll out of bed, become business owners. NFL football players just don't roll out of bed and become NFL football players. And Pro Football Hall of Famers don't just roll out of bed and become Hall of Famers. You bust your tail. You take advice. You're coached. And that's what I learned. One game my senior year, everybody, all the experts were saying, well, that is really nice. You can move on with your life and do something else because you're not going to play in the NFL. Nobody's going to touch you after 3 knee operations. Somebody might sign you as a free agent, but I kept working. My routine was just continue to bust it. And if I didn't make it in the NFL, it wasn't because my body wasn't ready. Well, I'll share this little story with you. Went from a top 5 pick to not being drafted after that 3rd knee operation. I got a call from a head coach, a new head coach of an NFL team, Forrest Gregg. He was a new head coach of the Cincinnati Bengals that year. And they had the 3rd pick in the draft. Of course, being a lineman, I knew who Forrest Gregg was. Hall of Fame tackle for the Packers. Best player that ever played for the Packers, according to Vince Lombardi, his coach. He came out to work me out. I said, okay, here's my chance to show him that, yes, I'm healthy. I played the entire Rose Bowl game. So real quick, we went through this work. He put me through about a 2-hour workout on our practice field there at USC. And at the end, Forrest was still pretty impressive. At 40 years old, he was about 6'5", about 250. Had that southern drawl from Texas, played at SMU, played for the Packers and the Cowboys. So he said, okay, this last drill, I'm going to be the defensive end. I'm going to make some moves on you, and you just react. Well, at USC, we were on the cutting edge. We were already using our hands. I mean, if you gave me your chest, I was going to punch you in the chest. I'm going to use my hands to work. So he lines up, I line up as a left tackle, and he comes, fakes outside, and goes inside, and he tries to swat me. So I sit outside, I come back, and when he does this, I go, boom, hit him right in the chest. Baseball players, golfers, when you hit a golf ball and you don't feel it, but it goes forever, that's what it felt like when I hit Forrest Gregg in the chest. The first thing that hit was the back of his head on the ground. And I'm thinking, I just ruined my chances. I bent over to help him up. I said, Coach, I am really sorry. He looked up at me. He goes, that's all right, son. Don't worry about it. A couple months later, with the 3rd pick in the draft, the Bengals drafted me after the experts said I would not play in the NFL. I just didn't roll out of bed and become a Pro Football Hall of Famer, become an NFL football player. But the journey, that's what it's all about. And I wouldn't trade any of what I went through for anything. Growing up where I did, not having a whole lot. The adversity I went through at college, rooting my guys on every game just about from the sideline. I wouldn't trade. So adversity, circumstances, don't let it dictate who you are. And don't let your success ruin things. I get to the NFL and I earned the starting job after playing 1 game 3 days into camp and start for 13 years. Should that change you? No. To me, that's turn up the volume of your preparation. Work that much harder. That's what Mom taught us. Never give up, never give up. Do your best with what you have and never give up. And sometimes you don't have a whole lot, but do your best and keep working. And I feel very blessed that I played 13 years and now to be able to wear this ring and the gold jacket. But not only that, that's all nice. To have played 13 years, to be a Pro Football Hall of Famer, to hear the nice things said about your career. But then you get opportunities to be a husband, to be a dad, to be a husband for, this is 44 years today. And I'm thankful that Dee Dee and I have worked through it. It hasn't been easy, but we're willing, just the way I worked back from that last injury, to work through things that we have in our marriage, to come to solutions when we have disagreements. It's not easy. Business is not easy. Football is not easy. Life is not easy. But it's looking for mentors. It's looking for those that want to pour into your life. And I've been fortunate to have those in everything I do. As a husband, as a father, now as a grandfather, as an NFL football player, I had my coaches. And now as someone that runs a foundation that has a couple of small companies, I'm always looking for mentors. And that's what I appreciate, the fact that 21 years ago, we were able to put another team together. I left playing with the Bengals as a team, but now we have a team for 21 years, the Anthony Munoz Foundation. It has my name on it, but it's not about me. It's about that team that I put together with staff, interns, board members, corporate partners, volunteers, that we have a chance to impact young people in the greater Cincinnati area. The way I was impacted by Jim Seaman, that baseball coach I met at the age of 7, there was a mentor to myself without a dad and a lot of the kids that he coached without dads, that we can do that now. Fellow Hall of Famer Darrell Green. Steve mentioned Jackie Slater playing 20. Darrell Green played 20 years. Known as the fastest man to ever play in the league. At least there's guys that are getting pretty fast now. But Darrell talks about how the gold jacket, the ring, the bust is a key for us to get indoors. But what are we going to do once we get in that door? How are we going to produce? And that's what it's all about. Just using your platform. If it's in business, education, coaching, whatever you do, using the platform to impact young people or just people in general, to making a difference in people's lives. And that's what excites me. I love having played. I love what I was able to accomplish. But man, seeing a young student that's getting ready to graduate from high school, they've overcome adversity, but they're doing phenomenal in class and community and everything they do, and being able to give them a scholarship or having a leadership seminar for them to give them some leadership nuggets from community stakeholders that come in and also pour into these young people's lives. That's what I love about the foundation. That's what I love about groups like this that help out people. So I could probably sit up 2 more hours and share football stories. And you say, those are grown men doing those things, right, Steve? Yeah. Grown bodies, getting older, but still kids at heart. Being able to do something that we love to do as young people, now that we're adults and now that we're grandpas, to look back and say, what a great experience I had and what a blessing it was to have played with all these great men. So I appreciate the opportunity just to share with you about the journey, adversity, the wins. I mean, 13 years for me, after only playing one healthy season, 13 years, I didn't miss a game until my 11th year because of what I learned about work ethic and being ready. Playing 13 years with some amazing guys. We didn't win a Super Bowl, but we went to 2 Super Bowls. To playing 11 Pro Bowls next to guys like John Hogg Hanna. I mean, Mike Webster. I mean, to me, that was just Larry Brown from the old Steelers. I mean, that was amazing. And I'm thankful for that, grateful. Don't take it for granted, but I'm very, very appreciative. And I tell young guys, don't ever forget where you come from. Make where you come from building blocks. Remember where you come from. And continue to tell those individuals, thank you for the support and encouragement they've given you. And again, thank you for allowing me to share part of my story. John, do we have time for maybe 1 or 2 questions? Or have I gone too long? So thank you so much for allowing me to come here. Charlotte, you're always great. I've been here several times. It's been a while. We've done youth camps here. Actually, I was sharing at the table. The coach I had my whole career at Cincinnati, 13 years, was the first line coach for the Panthers when they started the organization. So I actually came in a couple years and worked at Rock Hill. So got a little tied to the Panthers way back. It's a long time ago. Some of you weren't even born yet. But it's good to be back in Charlotte, and I thank you for the hospitality and for the warm reception. And I'll open up for a couple questions. Anybody have any questions? One or two? All right. Right back here. Oh, yes, sir. First time I met Paul Brown, I was in the little reception here, and I told people, I said, I talk about leaders, and Paul Brown was there for 10 of my 13 years before he passed. If you love football, but you haven't been a football history person, I would recommend that you Google or just search Paul Brown and see what he brought to the game. Amazing, very engaging, was there every single day, meetings, road trips. There wasn't a day that I was at the facility that Paul Brown wasn't there other than the off season when we were working out. On the plane, on the bus, to every trip. Then he got sick and we lost him. Before games, he would walk in and we'd be we used to call, the offensive linemen used to call it grazing. We'd get around, do a little grazing, stretch, and just get ready for the game early. And he'd always come in, knew everything that was going on. So let's say we're playing the Buffalo Bills, and he'd come in, and we'd be laying there, and he'd go, so, whose job is it to block number 78? And I knew he knew, and I'd say, Coach, he's my guy. And that would lead him to a story. Either his days at Ohio State or Massillon High School or, the time at the Browns. It was like a history lesson. But the guy was amazing. Let me just share a couple of things if you're not aware. So Paul Brown brought the playbooks. That was his idea. Face mask. Another thing, so think about how the coaches and the quarterback communicate. They have a transmitter in their helmet, right? In the 50s, Paul Brown put a transmitter in his quarterback's helmet. Think about it. In the 1950s, it didn't work. I thought I heard that he picked up too many radio stations up there in Massillon or music instead of getting the play into the quarterback. But that's the type of person, the innovator. I mean, videotaping practices so you could study film. That's Paul Brown. I love being around him and very engaging and an amazing leader to be around my first 10 years in the league. There was a question back here. Yes, sir. Oh, that's an easy one. Because it's something that I was able to do as an offensive lineman that many offensive linemen don't get to do, and I think you saw it in the video. Cleveland Browns. Paul Brown was fired from there. It was either Paul Brown or Jim Brown. So Jim Brown, of course, probably the best football player to ever play. So Paul Brown was fired from there. He comes down. Businessmen talk him into starting the Cincinnati Bengals. Forrest Gregg, my first head coach, was fired from Cleveland. So the intensity of that rivalry was amazing. So Sam Weiss was a rookie head coach. Boomer Esiason was a rookie quarterback. And we're playing in ankle-deep mud up at Cleveland Municipal Stadium. And I don't know if you saw that, but we're down 17-10 with 7 seconds left, and we have the ball at the 1-yard line, no timeouts. Enough time for one play maybe. And that was the first week that Sam Weiss put me at tight end and had a design pass for me. They hand signaled all the plays in. I couldn't tell you any other play other than that play they put in that week. So I'm in the huddle, and I see Sam Weiss hand signaling that play into Boomer, and I'm thinking, he's a rookie head coach. He doesn't want to coach in this league very long. He's asking his rookie quarterback to throw a pass to his left tackle, who is the primary receiver. I said, well, he's the head coach. We got to run it. And like I said, it wasn't executed the way it was, but Boomer rolled to his right, being a left-hander. I kind of stopped, did a little option route. No. Actually, I slipped and fell and got up out of the mud. And Boomer hit me for the touchdown. We kicked the extra point. Now we're tied. Our kicker was amazing. Jim Breach, all-time leading scorer, 9 for 9 in overtime. He hits a field goal in overtime, and we beat him 20-17. a lot of highlights for me, AFC Championship game, Super Bowl, but being able to catch a touchdown against the Cleveland Browns to tie the game, that's right up there at the top. Thanks for asking. All right, well, again, thank you so much for allowing me to be part of the, oh, you got one more here? Last one. Well, my attitude in my 13 years, every Sunday was my number one was a guy that, is that the word you use? Yeah. So it didn't matter who was, I wanted to, not that it was going to happen every play, but I wanted to dominate. It didn't matter who it was. That was my number one guy for that week. And that's the approach I mean, there was guys that were much better, I knew that. But I knew also that I needed to have that attitude every Sunday. And that's another thing, Forrest Gregg. After my rookie year, I was Pro Bowl alternate, and then my second year, I was Lineman of the Year in Pro Bowl. I made the Pro Bowl. I'll never forget, Forrest Gregg pulled me out of the meeting, and he said, "Anthony, I'd just like to congratulate you. You are a Pro Bowler now." And I'm ready to burst, and he grabs me by the arm and says, "I just need to say something else." He said, "Now, as a Pro Bowl player, every guy you go against in practice, every guy you go against in the game is going to measure themselves against you. So every play, every snap you take has to be a Pro Bowl play." And I'm like, well, if somebody knows about that. He was a Pro Bowler, guard and tackle, and a Hall of Fame tackle. So at practice, I tell people I loved practicing. Think about it. As a football player, you got Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and walk through Saturday, and you got one game. You have 4 days to get better for that Sunday game. I hated, and again, I've not met a player that hasn't been beaten. I hated getting beat. Tell you what, I just absolutely hated it. So that was the approach. So to answer your question, every guy that I studied before the game was that guy. Any others? All right. As you're saying that, first words that comes to my mind is consistency. Again, it's not easy as a parent. It's not easy as a coach. But think about it. What are parents or what are kids looking at? Boundaries, right? You have boundaries. You have boundaries as a coach. What are players, what are kids attempting to do? Cross over that boundary, right? They want to get outside of the boundaries. So it's consistency. I have a daughter and her husband. They have 4 kids, 12, 11, 8, and 6. All their classmates have telephones, have cell phones. They do not. They do not need cell phones. That's just them. Consistency. They're fighting it all the time. Well, he has one. Well, their parents are allowing them to have one. I think they have like a tablet where they can text them or something when they need something. Consistency. Have you ever read, do you know how wide a plate is, home plate? Who knows? Rocco, how wide is a home plate? You weren't a pitcher. A home plate is 17 inches wide. If you get a chance, look up, there is a longtime coach that comes out with a home plate hanging on his around, a chain and home plate, and his whole talk is about 17 inches. If you're a pitcher in the Braves minor league organization, or if you're a pitcher in the Braves, if you can't hit that pitch or throw that pitch within those 17 inches, are they going to widen the base for you? No. They're going to keep that base, home plate, 17 inches, and if you can't consistently throw that ball over that, you're either going to go down or you're finished, right? Analogy. You have boundaries. Motivate them. Be consistent. I look at teachers. I look at coaches, parents. They're teachers. And all due respect to coaches, when coaches, I was never in a class, Elementary, junior high, high school, college. I never was in a class where I did something wrong in class or scored a bad, and the teacher berated me and cursed me. You know what I'd do as a player when coach would start cursing me? Boom. Give me constructive, technical, sound stuff to get better as a football player. That's not making me better. So I don't see a difference between a teacher in the classroom and a teacher on the football field. It can be done. I know it can be done without berating and without, be tough. God tells us He doesn't give us a spirit of timidity, but one of strength, one of power, one of love, and self-control. So don't be timid with these guys. Be strong. But you have to have a balance and encourage them. And I think when a young person, he doesn't care what you know until he knows that you care. Think about that. He doesn't care what you know until he knows that you care. You get a young person's heart, you get their mind and their body. 30 years I've been doing youth camps across the country, Mexico. These kids have no clue that I even played in the NFL. In Cincinnati, I've been a spokesperson for a furniture company for 30 years. Kids will see me and go, Mom, Dad, there's a furniture guy. That's okay, as long as I get a connection with them. So it's consistency. And that's how I was taught, and that's what I coached high school for 3 years. I've coached probably 5 or 6 different NFL camps.